Welcome down, everyone! We're glad to have you back for another week of Those Nerds You Know. My name is Ethan.
And I'm David. Wait, no, I'm not. I'm Eddy.
This is Eddy.
Hi.
We are Those Nerds You Know.
Well, you don't know me yet, but...
We almost know Eddy,
We will, maybe, in the near future. Who knows?
Excellent. So, as anyone who is up to date with us knows, David has taken his leave of us.
Yep, forever.
He's gone forever.
I've replaced him forever.
He's left on a mission for the Mormon Church. He's going to serve his mission for 2 years, and so we'll be missing him for 2 years. So, and I explained this last week, but what I'm probably going to do is just have a string of guests come in.
Nope.
Okay, I'm just going to have that in. If anyone wants to be the solid replacement, I'm totally fine with that. Fine. But we'll see.
I'll give others a chance.
Indeed. But yeah, today you're going to hear from Eddy.
Yep.
And next week we'll likely hear from myself and David again, just because we recorded several things when David was still here. I think we have at least 4 other episodes of myself and David for slow news weeks. And it's not necessarily that next week is a slow news week, because we could do The Punisher. But I'm going to be out of town. Oh. So I'm just going to finish...
That's just going to be me. I'm going to replace Ethan. I'm just going to take control of the entire podcast.
And he's going to do characters and talk to himself. But no, so next week will probably be I think I'll release Stranger Things. Because that should already be out.
It's very good.
Yes, it's very good.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert for Stranger Things.
It's very good.
It's good, as you should know. I've only heard one bad review of it.
Oh, really? Wow. Yeah. That's interesting. I could probably know why there was a bad review, but, spoilers. More spoilers.
Adam Knox.
Yeah.
But I'm sure no one who listens to this knows who that is, and I'm sure he doesn't listen to this, so it doesn't matter.
I'm not sure I know who that is.
He's one of the filthy casuals.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. I gotcha. No, I haven't listened to them yet. Well, too much, but I have.
He's been on the Weekly Planet now.
Yeah.
Once.
We're fans.
Last week? We are huge fans of the Weekly Planet. And of Filthy Casuals. They're great. Anyway, what was I saying? This week, we watched Justice League.
Oh, man.
It was good. Well, last night we watched it. And it was actually good, in my opinion. Not great.
In Ethan's opinion.
But better than okay, in Ethan's opinion. Better than okay. I was going in and I was like, this will probably be okay.
And I feel it was okay.
Okay.
I'm in the okay meh area of
Gotcha.
the movie.
And that's my opinion going in, was that this will probably be okay, but it should be great.
Yes. I stand by that as well.
And it wasn't great. I stand by that fact. It was not great. It was better than I was expecting, but it was not as good as I knew going in that it should be.
Yeah.
Because it's the first Justice League movie.
You have all your big guys.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And on the one hand, I want to be like, well, it's the first time they've done it. Who gets it right on the first time? But then I think about the Avengers movie and how amazing that was. And I'm like, well...
And it sucks to compare those two, but that's all we have for superhero.
Yes, that's the nature of superhero movies right now. That is who you're going to talk about.
And we're not strictly referring to comics or anything, so
right.
Don't write into us and be like, oh, no, this isn't a Marvel versus DC debate. No, right, it's strictly the movies.
Yes, and they should be so much better than what they are.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. Let's see. Well, going into it, I wanted to talk about a couple of things.
Okay.
I have gripes, and I have things that I liked, and a couple things that I'm excited about. My main gripe for the film is that, which I saw in the trailers, and I was sort of mentally prepared for, but still, I was like, why is it like this? It looks like a video game. I look like I'm watching a cutscene from a video game for an hour and a half. Yeah. Well, 2 hours. It's 1 minute short of 2 hours. And so I'm just like, why? We've seen so much good CG in superhero movies as of late that make it not look like this. And I'm just like, more than half of this film, I just feel like I'm on a PlayStation 2.
Yeah, it felt messy. A lot of the CGI felt messy. And that Superman mouth, man. That they CGI'd his mustache or something like that.
Right. So
oh my god.
Yeah. I learned this again from the Weekly Planet, but just in general, he was filming something else, I think at Paramount, where he had a mustache, and they called him back to do
just remembering it.
Yes, they called him in to do reshoots of a couple things, but Paramount wouldn't let him shave his mustache.
Oh, those contracts.
So they came to an agreement where they would CGI out his mustache.
That's so weird. Like I couldn't place it at the time. I was like, why is this weird? Why does this feel weird? And like I was reading last night a little bit about it, and I was like, okay, yeah. They CGI'd his face.
Yeah.
His mouth specifically.
Yeah,
not
specifically
his face,
that.
just his mouth.
His upper lip.
And it looks so weird.
See, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't notice it a whole lot because
it bothered me. I was like, there's something wrong.
See, I was expecting it to, but I was looking for that, and I guess I just didn't see it. I don't know, but like, again, I could have easily been distracted by all the other things.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the other CGI. Oh, yeah. It's just like Steppenwolf bothered me because he just looked so gosh darn fake.
He looked really weird,
and I was just like, what is?
And the way that like. Are we doing spoiler things right now?
Yeah, no,
okay,
we spoiled the whole thing.
Okay,
in the
awesome.
Plot.
I
do not care about that.
The root things that were coming out of the ground, like during the chase scenes. I was like, oh, what is going on?
Right? It just looked so bad.
Yeah, the CGI was questionable. It felt really rushed, and messy.
Yes, It felt like those video games that are rushed to get out at the same time as the movies. Those video games that are based on movies that they've just put through a ridiculous line to get out, and it's just like, oh my goodness, why? Yeah. But yeah, so like that was troublesome to me because then it just like it makes things not feel so real.
Yeah.
I just remember something that I liked, and I'm gonna put that in.
Yeah, you go ahead with something you like, and then I'll put one of my gripes.
No, it's okay. We can talk. One thing I will say about the video game thing was I was thinking about this earlier today, and I was like, well, if they weren't in a video game world, where would they be? And I was because like a part of it was like they spent a good deal of time fighting Steppenwolf in his thorny, like viney place, which. All of that was CGI, so all of it looks, not only the characters, but where they were looked like a video game.
Yeah, absolutely. And
so, but I was thinking about it, what's the alternative to that? And I was just like, well, seeing them in the real world, seeing them in a real location, seeing them in a real place, which probably would have been a city. And then I was thinking, well, people have already given DC a crap ton of hell for all of the cities that have been destroyed, for all the Metropolis that was destroyed, and for all the things that have just been wrecked. Yeah. And like they had the throwaway line in BVS. Have you seen? You have not seen. Okay, so there's a line in BVS. There's a line in BVS when I think like it's like when Batman and Superman actually start to have a little tussle, or maybe right before or right after. I suppose right after. It's when Doomsday comes on. I think Alfred is talking to Batman because Batman's talking about like leveling a building, and he's like, "Don't worry, it's after 5 o'clock. No one's in that building." And then so like this throwaway thing to the audience and be like, "Don't worry, guys, no one's gonna die this time. We destroy a building." And I'm just like, "What?"
That's a controlled explosion.
Yes, it's just like. And so I think in this they were just like, well, we'll make the final battle in a completely desolate city. That I guess used to be a nuclear plant. And we'll make sure no one fights in a town unless it's at a statue that's already been destroyed.
Except one house.
Right.
Except one
house.
There was one house. We have to show civilians. Got to do it.
Yeah.
That's Action Snyder's thing.
So I think that was... I think the video game environment might have been a way of avoiding having more massive destruction. And I'm just like, I don't know if it was the best way to go about it, but I could follow that train of thought at least. I was like, okay, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, one other gripe I have is the jokes.
Oh my god!
I just feel like we were with a couple of people and they were mentioning to me afterwards. They were just like, I feel like it was really corny.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm just like, yes, because a lot of it was forced,
very forced,
and it's just like it feels almost like they're trying to keep up with Marvel. And I'm just like, stop it.
Yeah.
You don't need to.
Yeah.
DC doesn't need to be funny.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of things that are funny in a couple of DC things, but usually it's coming from a character who's used to being that way or something like that. And it's just like this was so much of it was forced. I'm like, you didn't need to do any of this. And then the Flash, I'm just like...
Yeah. No, I agree with that as well. Like, whenever I was watching it, and whenever Bruce Wayne first approaches this Flash guy, I don't even know. Barry Allen, yeah. Whenever he holds up the Batarang, he's like, "Can I keep this?" I was like, "Oh no!"
Yeah,
I felt like I was cringing at that point.
Oh gosh, so like that actor.
He looks so nerdy. Like, I'm okay with nerdy, but
he looks like my problem with him was that like a lot of the things he was doing was like, I guess, like cute, funny, quote unquote.
Yeah. He was there for that purpose.
It was being performed in a way. So, like, in a way that, like, I would assume someone who knows they're cute or thinks they're cute would perform something because they know people will think it's cute. Yeah. Not because they're actually like that, but because they think, oh, this will be cute if I do this, and then they do that thing. Yeah, that's how I felt the whole time with him. And I'm like, I don't feel like you're a real person. Stop this. I'm just like, I didn't like what they did with Barry. Yeah. I was just like...
Did he look kind of weird in the suit to you?
Yes, he looks super well. He also runs really funny.
Yeah, he does.
He runs really goofily.
There was a whole scene.
There's a whole thing of slow-mo of him running. And I'm just like, what are you doing?
Oh my god.
It looks so strange. Where he like throws his arms out. It's like, just... I saw it in the trailer and I was like, oh my gosh, why? I wasn't a huge fan of that. Poor guy. Yeah, no, I'm sure he's a great person.
Yeah.
He was fine in that other movie where he had a horrible haircut. Oh.
He's trying to draw the information out of my brain.
I'm going to pull it straight from you, Eddy.
It's not there at all, I promise.
Beast. Beast is in the title. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Oh, yeah, okay. Was he in that?
Yes.
Oh, crap. Who was he?
So, remember how they're chasing this person, this creature that's like a mage person, a wizard who's hidden their magic their whole life, who's like suppressed it and has gone crazy.
The kid.
He is that person. Right. He's that thing that they're looking for.
I completely remember.
That is him.
He did good with that.
Yeah, I think he did fine with that.
Little
yes,
teenager.
Yeah, he did fine with that, and he had a really crazy haircut.
Oh, those Brits.
Oh yeah. Anyway.
Oh wait, they were American, weren't they?
Yes, that's true. Yes, they were.
Oh, those silly Americans.
That's true. Well, I mean, like the main. What's his bucket isn't American. What is his name? Newt Scamander.
Oh no, he's British.
Yeah.
But he came to America.
Truth. Yes, they were in America. It was set in America. And the new one has a title now.
Yeah. The Crimes of
Grindelwald. Surely.
Oh, Johnny Depp, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Now you're plaguing the magical world of Harry Potter.
He looks so strange.
He does.
But I mean, he always does. I think, who is it? Is it Colin Farrell? Who's playing the guy that he was like hiding, who was pretending to be the whole movie?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
He looked much cooler, and I would have been fine. I've been perfectly fine with him being Grindelwald.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anyways.
This isn't a review about Fantastic Beasts.
No, it's not.
What are we doing?
So yeah, like my main gripes are the video games, the dumb jokes, and basically the Flash as a person.
Yeah.
I liked a couple of things they did with him, but for the most part, I was like, just stop. Also, he's faster than Superman. Just so we get that out of the way, he is in fact faster than Superman. Particularly on Earth, he is.
No, not in Justice League.
I'm just like, what do you do? But I mean, like, he is a young Flash, so I'm okay with him not knowing the full extent of his power and not being able to.
Sure.
But he can travel at or faster than the speed of light, and Superman cannot.
Right.
At least not in Earth's atmosphere, supposedly. I did a little bit of reading on that, and in the atmosphere on Earth, he cannot do that. He can do it apparently when he goes into space, whatever, but he can't do it here. And it's like, and this Flash commented on and has drifted into the Speed Force much sooner, I feel, than any other Flash normally would. Usually that's something they build up to in a Flash's storyline.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that he just kind of steps into it now, and I'm just like, that's interesting. Why? That's a whole character arc that you've just bypassed.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
There was
Okay.
that.
Anyway, what did you not like?
Okay, so I think I was thinking on it last night. I was like, the biggest gripe that I could have for it is going to be Steppenwolf. Like, I didn't find him interesting.
No.
At all.
No.
He was just a villain. Cardboard cutout villain that just...
Literally.
Oh, conquer, destroy.
Yeah.
The earth shall bow to me. Why?
Yeah.
He says, what's his name? Darkseid once. In the movie.
Exactly. That's another gripe I had that I forgot about. Yes.
I'm like, my knowledge of DC isn't extensive.
Right.
It extends to the DC deck building game, which I played with you guys.
That game is so good.
And I've gotten little bits of information from you and the other people we played with. But I know Darkseid's a big deal.
Yes.
And
Darkseid is what Thanos is a copy of.
Exactly. and I was thinking on it. I was like, Darkseid is mentioned once in this movie. And I'm thinking back on the Marvel movies, like Guardians of the Galaxy, which was, I think it was before Avengers, or was it after Avengers?
It was after.
Okay.
Avengers was the first look at him.
Avengers shows him, though.
Yes.
Like, we see him.
You see him
It's
talk.
like, holy crap, that's
Yes.
a guy that's
Yes.
probably not,
You see him in,
good to
I
mess
think,
with.
at least 2 other movies. You
Yeah.
see him in Guardians, and I think you see him again in... Gosh darn it.
I think he's appeared in, like, quite a few of the big group movies. Like, was he in Avengers 2?
He might have been, but I don't know.
I can't remember when we see his face. We see his face at one point.
Well,
but I can't remember which one.
You see his face in the first Avengers because he's talking,
right?
Like, but you see him again. You see his face a few times, or at least a couple times, in Guardians of the Galaxy because he's the one who hires Ronan.
Right.
He's the one who gives Ronan his ability, basically, and is like, "Hey, Ronan, you need to get this power gem to me." And Ronan's like, "Nah, I'm gonna take it for myself, thanks," and just like hangs up on Thanos in the middle of a Skype call. And then that's basically all you see of him in that. And then there's another one where he's like, well, I guess I gotta take care of this myself, and he puts on his power glove, which I think that's another ending, like, after credit sequence.
Yeah, the stinger. But yeah, I mean, that, and
Anyways,
it didn't
Darkseid.
have the same impact at all. I was like, Darkseid, that's a name I've heard. Like, we don't know. I mean, somebody stepping into this without having seen anything else is not going to know who that is.
Correct.
We have no, like, oh, he's doing it for Mother and for Darkseid. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Steppenwolf, you do your thing. And I don't know, I just didn't like him. And that's a big thing for me. And, like, stepping back in the Marvel comparison, like Thor, the recent Thor movie, I loved the... Hela, yeah. I loved her. And I think she was... I mean, she has that daddy issue thing. She has her brother issues that she wanted her brothers to bow to her, of course. But I mean, there's some sibling stuff there. And then she didn't want to kill anybody. Well, I mean, she probably did, but that she gave him a chance. Like, hey, you can serve me or perish, whatever. Like, we can relate to her a little bit, like in some cases.
She had a past that was at least moderately fleshed out.
Yeah,
and we could see why she was doing what she was doing.
Steppenwolf's just, hi, I'm getting these things.
Right up.
I'm killing everything.
It seems like DC is making a lot of their own mistakes, but also similar mistakes to, like, early Marvel films. In that Marvel films had a lot of these bad guys that are just bad for no reason.
Yeah.
Like the main bad guy in Thor 2. The bad guy, Ronan, the bad guy from Guardians of the Galaxy that we mentioned. There were a lot of these guys who were just bad for no reason.
Yeah.
And they're just there to be big bad guys and destroy the whole planet and the world. And that's just kind of what Steppenwolf was for this movie. But he could have been more than that.
Absolutely.
Like, he's
could
one
have
of...
been someone else, because DC has a plethora of
right,
other...
like, and like, I feel like the end of BVS was hinting at the coming of Darkseid.
Yeah.
So why not just bring Darkseid? Why? Yes. I mean, there's a movie...
You don't have to kill him, like, at the beginning of... I mean, in the end of Justice League. You can have another sequel.
Yeah.
Whatever.
There's an animated film. So DC does a really good job with their animated films. I don't know if you've watched them.
I haven't.
There's, I think it's called Justice League War? And I could be getting this wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's called Justice League War. It's a film from the past few years, and it's like sort of a reboot of how the Justice League was formed.
Right.
And it was literally formed around Darkseid coming here and then Batman and a couple other people being like, we need a group to come together and actually fight this. It was, I think it was formed, I think that movie was made somewhat around and based off of the reboot that occurred with the New 52.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it had similar elements to that. Oh, I thought of another gripe. I'm gonna put it around. Hold on, wait, put it down. I promise I did kind of enjoy this movie, everyone.
No, yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it too. Like, I would recommend fans to go see it.
Yes,
if they're fans of the comic books and stuff.
I agree.
I mean, I don't know too many fans of the movies, but
if you're a fan of the movie, you'll probably have seen it.
Yeah, it's okay. It's worth the $10 at the theater.
Yeah,
at least.
I'd agree. Darkseid, right? So, yes, I feel like we should have seen Darkseid. I'm pretty sure Steppenwolf is one of the servants of Darkseid. He's like one of his generals. Darkseid has several of these people that are sort of in place to sort of help him rule and do all these things. And there are more than just Steppenwolf. So I was hoping beyond hope that when Steppenwolf popped out the first time, that we were going to go from him to seeing a different general. Yeah. And maybe we would have several small ones, and maybe Darkseid would show up at the end, and they would find a way to either like close the gate on him or like not have to fully fight Darkseid. Yeah. And then they would be like, all right, well,
establish the threat.
Aside
from Darkseid.
Right. Defeat the generals or whatever. Defeat the small guys.
Final boss.
Say, hey, Darkseid, that's bad. We're gonna have to fight him eventually, but for now we're all right. Yeah. That would have been cool. But no, we just got Steppenwolf with no real, like you said, no real definition of his character, who he was, or what he was doing, no motivations. And he said Darkseid once.
Yeah, once. Like, Mother is one thing.
Right.
Like, it's whatever. But if you're doing it for Darkseid's probably over Mother.
Yes.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That was a gripe of mine.
Yeah.
It's just, I like villains. Villains are a big part of confrontation
in
my enjoyment for movies. But not the whole, I'm going to just destroy everything.
Yeah. That was strange.
Second gripe. Sound direction. Sound direction in the movie was very questionable to me. And they used it in a lot of ways that I found grating. For example, the big bug monster things, they were constantly in the speakers, at all times. And I'm like, okay, I'm sure they don't have to like screech every 2 seconds about everything. Yeah. And it was just, it wasn't unnerving or anything. Like, it was just annoying to me. I was like, please stop. And another example is like the really fast people that are flying by the screen, you hear them talk like in an instant, and then they continue on. Like the Flash, you hear him like say something, then Superman flies by and he says something. Like, sound wouldn't get that far. Like, it felt really artificial and weird, and I couldn't understand some of the things that Steppenwolf said. And Batman. And Batman.
I couldn't understand a lot of things a lot of people said. Like, there's a moment when Cyborg catches Aquaman in the air and they have a conversation. That conversation's in the trailers. I've seen it before, and I saw it in this movie, and I still don't entirely know what they said.
Yeah, it's just like...
So I get
like
that.
we can plainly hear them as they fly by the camera, our point of view at least. But like, if you're having a crucial conversation about something, it's like you need to enunciate.
Yeah.
Like Steppenwolf's mouth was like it looked fake, like as you were saying.
Yes,
like,
all of
with the CGI.
Steppenwolf was
like,
fake.
And his voice sounded bad. It was just terrible all over that place. I just didn't like Steppenwolf at all.
And it was difficult to watch Steppenwolf. For me, it was difficult to watch Steppenwolf interact with the Amazons, which were a lot of actual human beings, because he was not. And it was just weird. Like, it was... that was a strange interaction.
Yeah.
But yeah. Nah.
The sound was weird, though.
You were talking about the sound, and it reminded me of a moment where I was like, okay, we need to stop this. There's I think it might actually be when Bruce Wayne throws the Batarang at Barry Allen, the Flash. and he ducks out. He just steps into the Speed Force and ducks out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear the ringing of the metal of the batarang.
Yeah.
And it just slowly gets louder, and I was like, my head's gonna explode. Like it lasted way too long and got way too loud.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, wah, wah, ah.
Yeah.
I was silently freaking out next to you. And then it stopped. I was like, oh, thank goodness.
No, that's
so
another
I
example.
can understand that, yeah.
Excuse me. The sound direction was all over the place.
Yeah. I liked a lot of the music.
The music was great. Yeah.
Very, very good. Icky Thump. Oh, that's so good. Yeah, no. Another gripe that I have about this is 7. The Justice League is made up of 7 individuals. Mm-hmm. In any incarnation, anywhere, there are 7 people that make it up, that originally form it. Mm-hmm. Usually it's switched out. Usually Martian Manhunter is here, and Aquaman is occasionally switched out for Shazam or someone else. But usually there are 7 people, and there's only 6 in this movie, and I'm like, what is happening? Like, even the 2 years ago when they released promo for it, they released a poster, like, after they cast Homeboy Aquaman with him holding the trident, and it said, Unite the 7. And I'm like, yeah, because there's supposed to be 7, because that's what everybody was saying. Oh, there's supposed to be 7 Justice League members. And so, like, I was holding out hope that they were actually being crafty and hiding a 7th member of this team to reveal in the theater.
That would have been really nice.
Would have been cool.
That would have been great. Yeah.
Would have been super swag.
That would have been great.
Green Lantern would have been awesome.
They had Green Lantern in there in a
flashback. That was really cool to see. Although it was kind of game changing because I think at this point, technically, I'm not super up on my Green Lantern mythology or whatever it is. David would know. Poor David.
Poor David. Sorry.
David's doing great. We're the ones suffering.
We don't have his Green Lantern knowledge.
But I'm pretty sure that Hal, or whoever the first Lantern is that has a ring, that has a ring bestowed upon him, is like the first Guardian for Earth. Because prior to him, Earth wasn't deemed like
protective worthy.
I don't know about that. It was just like there wasn't enough threat to Earth for them to feel like putting someone there.
Yeah, okay.
So the fact that they had a flashback and there was a Lantern there, I'm just like, that doesn't make sense in my brain. There wouldn't be one that far back.
Right.
Because supposedly, what David has mentioned to me, and I think what I've heard from some other people and probably some places on the internet, is that it would be really cool if Hal has just been... already has his ring and has been on Oa for this whole DCEU, just kind of waiting to go back to Earth. And then when he comes back to Earth, he's like, haha, I'm a great superhero, I'm going to protect all of you. And then he looks down and he sees all this nonsense that's happening. He's like, holy crap, what's going on? Like, this would have been a cool moment, I think, for that. For him to come in and do that. That would have been really, really cool.
That would have been great.
But they showed us a Green Lantern, which I think they were just trying to reassure us that it was going to happen. And I'm all right with that. It looked good.
Yeah.
Because if anyone should look like a video game character, he should. Because that's what his stuff looks like.
Yeah.
So, when they showed that person fighting, I was like, oh, that's cool. That looks fine. And then he died, and you see the ring leave, as it is wont to do. So, yeah. But yeah, there should have been 7, and I wish there had been. But this just...
That could have been.
There could have been, and there wasn't, and I was just like...
It's like, why go through the effort of showing Green Lantern in a flashback if you're not going to have Green Lantern in a current time?
No payoff. It's just...
It's like, oh, that's pretty.
Right.
That's all it was. It was pretty.
Yeah, that's all it was.
Oh, man.
Just a little bit of hope. It was just like him saying the word dark side.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's exactly the same thing.
It is.
It's like, oh, that would be neat. I guess we're not going to see that in this movie. Okay.
When did this take place? Oh, thousands of years ago? Okay.
So 7. Did you have any other gripes?
Oh, I have quite a few, actually.
Please, lay them on us.
So, I don't have a lot of DC knowledge, as I've said already.
All right. I'll do my
but
best.
I do know Batman.
Righto.
I know Batman quite a bit, because my childhood was filled with superheroes, but not in my sense. My brother was very adamant about enjoying them and stuff like that. And
I don't think I knew you had a brother. So.
Well, he's
you could have
brother.
made him up.
But anyway, it's he seemed lost a lot of the time in the movie. Like he was getting people together, and then he gave us the information about the cube that they had. Yeah. That's about all that he really did. He didn't seem too knowledgeable about the machines he was using, because Alfred was always there, and it's like, I don't know, but I don't know. He seemed lost, and I felt like, and I know they were trying to like do the whole, Wonder Woman is kind of the leader without Superman, and Batman doesn't want to be the leader, and it's fine, but he should be. I don't know. I felt Batman felt underwhelming,
right?
And it's nothing toward Ben Affleck. I think it's. I don't know. He didn't look like he knew what he was doing or anything like that.
I think Ben does a fine Bruce Wayne. Yeah. And he's big and bulky and scary, I guess, as a Batman, which is fine. But this goes back to BVS that you haven't seen. But a lot of gripes about this Batman is that he is not a detective. Like he's not. He doesn't feel like a detective. Yeah. Like he doesn't feel like the Batman that has a contingency plan for all kinds of things, who knows a lot of things. He doesn't feel like the Batman who made his own stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
and who is not only, he doesn't feel like the Batman who not only inherited his fortune but could have earned it himself if he had to.
Absolutely.
Through his own brilliance.
And I didn't feel that from this movie.
Right, yeah. I don't feel that at all from him. Because again, if he was a detective, he probably would have figured out in BVS that Superman was a fine person. Yeah. And that he probably shouldn't have been fighting him. It's so ridiculous to me. How little this Batman,
But that sort of extends into my next gripe, where Steppenwolf, he wasn't all that. Like, he wasn't super powerful himself. He just had strength and a big axe. Yep. And I feel like he could have been taken out by Superman and Cyborg alone, like without the help of the others at all. Probably because Superman pretty much like trashed him when he showed up. Yeah. And then Cyborg was doing the cube thing, trying to separate the three cubes that they had. And that's all they really needed. Right. Like, I'm not discrediting Wonder Woman, Batman, or Aquaman's involvement, but they weren't necessary to fight this guy.
No. And that's something that I have a problem with, because Wonder Woman and Aquaman are both very strong characters. Yeah. Like, physically, they're powerful. Wonder Woman can go toe-to-toe with Superman. Like, she actually can. She's very strong. Yeah. This one's not as developed. The Wonder Woman here can't fly yet, which is a strength that she does have and does get, I think, eventually. But she can do that. She doesn't have any laser beam eyes or frost breath, which was cool that we got to see. Yeah. But like, she is powerful as well. Like, she should have been able to hit Steppenwolf just as hard as Superman was hitting him. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And Aquaman, I feel the same. Like, he's a very strong character, and people don't really give him.
And the only utility he really brought was stopping the water from floating in on them on an unnecessary fight scene.
Super accurate. Yeah.
Oh, and he killed a few of the bug things.
Yeah, he totally did that. So flew around, said Yahoo.
Good job, Aquaman. Woo! I love Jason Momoa, but
that's his name. Yep.
Yeah. No, he's just Aquaman was very underutilized. I think.
And I like him too, and I like this Aquaman's character. Yeah. I think it's cool. Also, I will give him this, though. This is a sort of a broken Aquaman. This is not King of Atlantis Aquaman. This is a sort of running from his responsibilities Aquaman.
Rebellious.
Yes.
Rebellious teen
He's
Aquaman.
Not so hopefully...
in a man's body.
Hopefully his movie will be him taking the throne of Atlantis and becoming the character that he is.
Yeah, and I'll admit I will probably want to watch that, because Aquaman is actually one of my favorite DC characters out of the ones that I know.
He's super cool, and he's a lot cooler than people give him credit for.
And we got a glimpse of Hera, which was Mera. Sorry.
Yes, that's another thing that I like, that I put on my list. I love seeing Mera. Yes. Mera's great.
But yeah, I just the team, like, I like how Bruce got them together. Granted, Cyborg was like, no, and he's like, oh, all right.
Yeah, yes. I guess.
I guess.
Twist my arm.
Yeah.
No,
but other than that part, I think they got the team together pretty well, but it wasn't necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, like I just again, like what you said, like Steppenwolf, he wasn't as big of a threat as he probably could have been or should have been, and I agree with you, he could have been taken out just by Superman. So essentially, this seemed more like a movie about them finding a way to resurrect Superman than a way to form a team.
Yeah.
Which they did, which was also weird. I don't know how
this movie sucks. Oh, no,
I don't know. I don't know how Superman comes back in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not exactly sure how it happens.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's like this. And it's weird that this is how it happened.
And they created a weird tense moment out of it. And it wasn't really tense. It was just like...
Yeah.
It's kind of just do it. Just supercharge something. Like, I didn't understand why it had to hit the water at a specific time.
Me neither.
But that was a weird moment.
Would have been a great opportunity for a character like, I don't know, Shazam.
Yeah, right.
With somebody. Or Black Lightning.
Right.
Any character with lightning, anything. Because I guess that's why that's why this Flash had to be related to the Speed Force.
Yeah.
Because the Speed Force is that little electricity stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why he had to have that at this point. Yeah. No, it seems kind of forced.
But going back to that, what were we talking about?
I don't know. It was strange that's what this culminated in. Was
the resurrection.
Resurrecting.
Yeah, right.
I just figured he'd wake up eventually or something like that. He was just in sort of a dormant sleep or something would wake him up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Don't know.
Let's see. Did I have anything else to gripe about? No, I think that's about covers my negative views on it.
Yeah.
It was. I don't know a lot about DC, and this movie I felt should have been that grasping, like, oh, I want to see more now, you know. And Wonder Woman was that for me. I was like, Wonder Woman was great. I loved Wonder Woman.
Super good.
Like it was kind of the run-of-the-mill superhero movie, but you know.
But they needed
I was
that.
interested.
they needed that
right,
really
absolutely.
bad.
And that coming off of that to Justice League, which is supposed to be a massive step up, it was not at all a massive step up.
So when I look at this film and Wonder Woman in relation to previous films of that type in the DCEU, this is their best ensemble cast film, and Wonder Woman was their best solo hero movie.
Yeah.
Ensemble cast thus far that they have is BVS, Suicide Squad, and this film. Yeah. And this film trounces those other two.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really, really easily. And Wonder Woman kicks the crap out of Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Which is the only other solo movie in this universe at the moment.
Oh, it's like, jeez. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
It's like, you think that they would do a bit more establishing.
Yeah. It's strange. It's strange. Yeah.
It's like, do the Aquaman movie first.
Right? Do a couple more things like that. But
I mean, and that's another thing I thought of. Like, I did touch on it in my necessity of the team thing, but they didn't establish a lot of the characters. Like the Flash, he was just it's a guy that goes fast. Cyborg, he can interact with technology. Here you go, they're in the Justice League.
Yep.
Oh, he's got daddy issues. Oh, they both have daddy issues.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, they're joining the team to risk their lives for, whatever. Funsies.
Yeah. It's remember.
And I can understand. It's like, it's 2 hours of film, yeah. But I mean, that's when like thinking back on it, I was like, one of the things that they could have taken out is the whole fight with the hostages.
Right.
Like they did, that was unnecessary. That I felt like I can't remember if Steppenwolf actually went to each person to grab them, or if he had his minions do it, or whatever. But he could have gone and searched for people that have had the mother scent on them or whatever.
Something.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the creators, the producers, or whatever would have felt as though we would need some type of interaction, some type of action, some type of fight. You need a fight where everyone sort of figures out one, how to be in team, or whether they want to be on a team together.
Yeah.
Which was that moment for Aquaman, I think.
Yeah.
But not really anyone else on the team because they were already kind of okay with being together.
Yeah.
Because like if you think of again the Avengers movie, that fight is when Loki is on the ship and he gets them to release the Hulk and gets the Hulk angry and he gets himself out and various things happen, and essentially what happens is everyone who previously was not okay with being on a team together realizes there's a threat, realizes there's a problem, and decides to be on a team together.
Yep.
Through the loss of Coulson and the separation of the team, Hulk gets thrown out of the thing, Thor gets thrown out of the helicarrier, all this thing happens. And so like that, I feel like it's probably maybe what they thought this would have to be for them, the hostage fight. And it just, again, it only felt like it worked for Aquaman, kind of, because it was his choice. It was when he realized, oh, the mother box is gone, we have a problem.
Yeah. I
guess I should work with these people.
Yeah.
I really liked him and Mara. I like his interactions with Mara. I love Mara so much. She's so cool. I think that was a good choice, casting-wise.
Yeah, that's all the gripes I have. So if we want to move on to the positives.
Man. Yeah.
Unless you have another gripe.
Another thing, well, no, something you brought to my mind was that the Batman that we have now is sort of like he's not a very good detective and all that nonsense, but I feel like also he's a very old Batman.
Yeah.
And he's kind of done with everything.
Yeah.
He's also very, very... cynical is not the word. It's just like...
Mopey?
Mopey is a good word. But he's just at the point where, like, everything is the end of the world, I think, for him.
Yeah.
Because he's reached this point where, like, he knows he's out of his own depth as far as basically anything. Because he's not super strong, he doesn't have powers, all this nonsense. And all these things that are happening are way above his pay grade, essentially.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping that we see him retire.
Yeah.
And we get a new Batman. That would be a really cool way to sort of like softly reset his character because he is an older Batman and he probably shouldn't be being Batman for very much longer. But I think it would be a really awesome opportunity to cast a really cool Dick Grayson.
Yeah.
And
who's that?
So Dick Grayson is the first Robin. That's right, you don't know things. Dick
Okay.
Grayson was the first Robin.
Okay.
Who eventually grew up to become Nightwing.
I got you.
So he's the Robin in the Teen Titans show, supposedly. He's the first Robin. Have you seen Young Justice? Okay, never mind.
No.
But he's the Robin in that.
I should, though. I've heard that people have flip out over it.
So good, and it establishes things so much better.
I will watch it.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Netflix, I'm coming for you.
Yes. Dick Grayson is in that. He's the Robin in the first season, and in the second season, he's Nightwing. And there's a new Robin. I think the other Robin in that one is Drake. Yeah, it would be Drake. It would be Tim Drake. Anyway, he's my favorite Robin and the coolest Robin. And
objectively.
Yes, objectively speaking. I think he's the least like Batman, while also being a good detective and a good fighter. He's a bit more upbeat, he's faster on the quips.
Yeah.
He's a bit happier.
Okay.
Jason Todd is the second Robin. He dies and goes crazy and becomes Red Hood, who is a cool character.
Okay.
He's like an anti-hero. And then there's Tim Drake, who I think has been removed from canon. I don't really know. But he becomes Red Robin, and he moves on to work with the Teen Titans for quite a bit, I believe. Not as a leader, but just as a member. He's cool. He's a little bit... I don't know a whole lot about him, but I think he's a little bit angrier. But the angriest by far is Damian Wayne, who is Batman's actual son with Talia al Ghul, the daughter of Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, I know that name.
Right on. Yeah.
DC Tech Building.
Yes. Talia. She's also in the third Nolan Batman movie.
Gotcha.
She's the one. Have you seen those?
I have seen... Okay, so the only DC movies I've seen are The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger as the Joker.
Okay, so the second Nolan film.
Yeah, and Wonder Woman. And now Justice League.
Well,
it's the only...
That's okay. This is probably...
Well, I have seen like the old ones, like Batman Forever, and whatever. But Batman Returns, things like that.
Those movies.
God, I was like 8 when I
So
saw
the
those.
Robin in those movies is
Uh-huh.
Dick Grayson.
Okay.
Suppose like it's he's not a super faithful one, but that's
Okay.
the one they chose to use for him.
Gotcha.
And then the quote unquote Robin and the well, you wouldn't have seen him anyway, and
Yeah.
the Dark Knight trilogy. Because when Nolan made his, he was like, I don't. Well, actually, I don't know if it was Nolan or if it was Christian Bale. One of them said there will be no Robin in this.
Okay.
I think it might have actually been Christian Bale. He was like, I'll sign on as long as I don't have a Robin. And so there wasn't ever one, but there's a character in the third one who's a cop who has like an amalgam of the Robin's names.
Mm-hmm.
I think his last name is Grayson, and I think like he goes by like Tim Grayson, which is like Tim. Like you find out at the end that Tim I think is his middle name, and his first name actually is Robin.
Gotcha.
It's interesting, but he's just like this guy who
It's a
finds out
nickname.
who finds out who Batman is. Like he puts the pieces together. And
That's
finds
another
out.
thing I remember. That just brought me back to Justice League.
Hmm.
Aquaman was like calling Bruce Wayne Batman in front of like
Oh,
7
yeah.
people. I'm like, is that not a
They don't
thing?
speak English.
Oh, you're right.
That's
you're
the
right.
thing. Because I saw that too, and I was like, oh wait, well, yeah, but they were discussing
Okay.
another language.
Okay,
So
that makes
that
sense.
is one
now.
thing.
Because I was like, I kind of tensed up when he said that, like in front of those people. I was like, oh god, what is he doing? But yeah, no. Robins, fun times.
Yeah. Anywho, it would be really cool, I think, because at this point we understand, or at least we can surmise. Again, you haven't seen BVS, but in BVS, Batman keeps like a museum of basically everything he's done and all of his.
It's great.
All of his crap. It's such a bad movie. But there's one point where he's looking at a Robin suit, because he keeps a lot of the suits in like these cases, and you presume it is the suit of Jason Todd that he was wearing when he died, because it's beaten up, and across it has written like this really manic handwriting, ha ha ha.
I got you.
So you assume, because the Joker's the one who
Joker,
killed
right.
him in actual canon.
Yeah.
So you assume he's looking at Jason Todd's former uniform.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's also fair to assume that he probably doesn't know, because by this point he would have been resurrected already, because he was resurrected pretty quickly after that he was killed in the timeline. So by this time there should be a Todd, or be a Red Hood, sorry, which is the resurrected form of Jason Todd.
I got you.
Which means there definitely is a Dick Grayson, who's probably Nightwing already, and probably just hanging out in Bloodhaven, which is the city he moves to when he becomes Nightwing.
Okay.
Because when he leaves Batman, I think it's kind of in like a I'm done with you kind of way. It's like I'm going to go be my own person.
Yeah.
So he feasibly does exist in this universe and could feasibly replace Batman. I think that would be really cool to see.
Yeah.
Especially if they nail the casting. That'd be fun. Because that is something that Dick Grayson has done. He stepped in for
Wasn't
Batman.
there a Nightwing movie that was supposed to come out like at some point in the past?
So I don't know if there was a Nightwing movie. There was. So back when like all the DC shows were popping up, and like every channel, every station was gonna have their own DC thing. So we got Constantine, we got Supergirl that was on a different network, and then we had of course the CW ones, Arrow and Flash, and eventually Legends.
Yeah.
And now eventually Black Lightning, which might be cool. And then they eventually got Supergirl. But originally there was going to be a Titans series, which was going to have Nightwing. So it was going to be essentially Teen Titans, but without the teen part. I think they were going to be like
Titans.
Young adults. Yeah, right.
Gotcha.
So which would have made the leader of the group Nightwing, not Robin. So it would have been a Dick Grayson, a Nightwing, and then I think the only other confirmed characters that we're going to use at that point were Raven and I think one other Titan, but that never came to fruition.
Yeah,
that was going to be on AMC, I think.
Anyways,
that got canceled. I don't know if there was ever a movie planned. I hope they are intending to bring him out and to cast him and to have him be part of this universe, because I think it would be really, really cool. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they'll introduce Damian Wayne or some crazy nonsense. That's another thing. Is like at this point, I guess something that could humanize this Bruce Wayne a little bit more and maybe give him a reality check would be having a kid.
Yeah.
That might help him stop being such a ridiculous person.
Daddy Batman.
Yeah. I don't know. That might be the best thing for him. I don't know.
Daddy, give me some allowance,
It's just, yeah. But like, it's weird because in this timeline, also by now, there would, if there's a grown-up Grayson, if there's a dead Todd, if he would be old enough to have a Drake or to have a Damian Wayne, Batman, would old enough to have all these Robins, which he is, because he's been Batman for 20 years at this point, Justice League would have already been formed at this point, 20 years into his career, and meaning the Teen Titans would have already been formed. Various other small groups would have been formed. It's just it's the timeline's weird, so I don't know. Don't know what they'll do. Who knows? Anyway, things that we liked about this movie.
Okay, it's over. Bye. No.
I actually did enjoy some of the character interactions.
Yeah.
I actually liked the way they talked to one another, the way they sort of quote unquote hung out.
They had good chemistry.
Yes,
the team had good chemistry.
Felt they did.
I agree with that.
When they weren't trying to make dumb jokes.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite scenes is right before they go into it, and Aquaman's talking, and like Wonder Woman slyly gets the rope around him, so he just starts speaking the truth and stops being such a masculine just a-hole. It's real funny.
That was a great scene. That was a great
hilarious.
Scene. It's probably the best scene in the movie.
Oh
honestly.
gosh, yes. Best interaction, definitely. I like Batman's interactions with Wonder Woman. I think that's cool. They often I don't know if Batman ever hooks up with Wonder Woman officially. They toy with it a lot in comics and in shows. And like, also disclaimer, my primary understanding of the DC universe comes from shows that I watch, mostly animated movies and series. I've read a couple comics, not a whole lot. And then I read things, like I read summaries and character.
I do none of those things.
Yeah, well...
He has more knowledge than me, so if I've said something wrong,
there's that.
It's all Ethan's fault.
But yeah, I did like the way they interacted. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, Batman and Wonder Woman seemed like kind of a brother-sister sort of relationship.
Yeah, definitely.
And I like that. I did like that.
I agree. I like Wonder Woman's just how cool and collected she is.
Yeah.
Typically, that's really neat.
I did really like the scene where she saved all those children and like in the school.
Yes, that was great.
Cool. That was the movement was kind of weird, but whatever.
Right.
CGI. That was the thing. But I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. It looked really cool, and it was another example of them having a fight in a real location with real human beings. Yeah. And it looked
with
great.
Real danger because she was pointing that gun and shooting at them.
Yes. And that was really cool. It was fun to see.
Great.
It was a good show of character for Wonder Woman, good show of strength, and there was actual danger, and gosh, that was really cool. They weren't just smashing things that weren't actually there.
Yeah.
So, that was good. I'm glad you reminded me of that. That was really good.
Automatic machine gun.
Even like, so like the opening scene when Batman's on the roof with the guys stealing stuff. Yeah, whatever. Batman interacting with him was cool.
Yeah.
But like, everything there looked fake.
Yeah.
Everything there looked like a video game.
It did.
I'm just like it's like
we're in a noir game.
Yeah, it was just weird.
It was really weird.
And then he fights the creature, the scout, the bug monster that's there, and it's just like everything just looks so strange.
Random alarm sound.
Yeah, truth. Yes.
That makes him explode, apparently.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that any other time. They just followed him whenever he started blaring that in the end scene.
I don't know if they were meant to make him explode. I think that one exploded because it was caught.
Oh, maybe. You're right. You might be right.
And so it killed itself to not give out further information. But I think the sirens were meant to disorient them. Yeah. Make them upset, which it seemed to do.
Yeah, it did. Like that was the thing to draw them all.
Yeah.
Toward Batman.
What's next? So I liked character interactions. Like I said, I liked that Superman was really strong, and he beat the crap out of Steppenwolf.
He freaking bodied him.
So good
every time he came into contact. With him,
I love that you can have a superhero show up and just trounce someone, and not have to, like, again where Steppenwolf should have been stronger and better.
Absolutely.
But it was great to just see him just knock him out.
Get demolished.
Like, yes.
Like, wasn't even a contest.
Right. And that's great because Darkseid is strong.
Yeah.
Darkseid is someone that he would have to actually pump himself up for and do better. Yeah. And there's a really cool... In the animated film that I mentioned, Justice League War, Darkseid walks around for a little while, right? He gets to Earth, and he's walking around a bit, and Superman gets there, and it's really cool because he has this short little monologue with him, like he has a little bit of a bout with Darkseid, and Darkseid kind of has an upper hand with it, and he comes out of it, and he's like, well, the good thing about you is that Superman's just like, I live in a world basically made of glass to me. It's like, if I do anything wrong, I could just end up leveling a building on accident. And so, like, oftentimes when he's fighting even villains and things, he's like, I have to hold back a little bit. Yeah. But he's like, he says to him, he's like, with you, I don't have to hold back at all. And he hits them really hard, and it's so cool. It's such a satisfying moment for Superman, I think, in that moment, in that film. And it was just, that's what it kind of felt like here. Like, he was just like, I don't give a freak. And he just beat the crap out of this man. Yeah. And I loved it. That was super fun to see. Another great thing to see was that Superman smiled, and he laughed, and he was joyful, and he had a good time.
He has human qualities,
right?
Regardless of CGI mouth.
He wasn't just moping around everywhere. He's just been a very sad character from Man of Steel through BVS. He's just been sad, and everything around him has been sad, and he's just been really sad, Superman. But he's a beacon of hope, right? As Batman says he is, even though we don't see a whole lot of that. And so, like, it was very refreshing to see him, like, he laughs with Cyborg after they rip all the mother boxes apart. Yeah. Where'd they go, by the way? Don't know. Did they disintegrate?
That's a good question.
I have no idea. Right. They're just not mentioned after that. There's this small explosion that levels the two of them, and then I don't remember seeing them after that. Right?
I don't remember either.
Right? Yeah.
They can't have, like, taken them back with their normal tribe because obviously it's not safe.
Safe, yes, right. I have no idea.
Maybe they buried them all in the earth because that's apparently the best place for them because he couldn't find that one.
Yep. I don't know. He couldn't find the one that was in an apartment in New York.
Yeah, I can't remember. Huh.
But that was cool to see. It was cool to have him be a happy guy.
Yeah, and some people might say it was an anticlimactic fight, but I don't think it was. I think that because Superman trounced him so hard, it was satisfying.
Yes,
as you
it
said.
Was.
Like, it wasn't anticlimactic.
It was good to see him doing what he's supposed to be doing, and again, being happy after that and doing his little race with Flash,
Mr. Barry Allen.
Yes, that was fun to see. Like, it's just good to see him interacting well because he is sort of he's a goody two-shoe guy, but he's a happy guy. He's typically a hopeful guy, and he's a very crucial part of the Justice League, and he helps keep things upbeat usually. So it was good to see him like that and to actually be sort of a beacon of happiness and hope, as he should be, which is good. Trying to think if there's anything else about him that I wanted to say. I don't think so. I think we're good. He was good. Yeah. There was a hopeful ending to this, which I enjoyed. Superman wasn't dead in the end. Superman didn't just level a city and kill someone. It wasn't the sort of bittersweet ending, I think, of Wonder Woman, where, like, yes, she saved the day, but she also lost her loved one and monologued about being, maybe humans are okay, or maybe they're not. I don't know. Which was the end of that movie. And this film was just like, nah. We got the Lois Lane doing reading out her news report about darkness coming out of it and having these beacons of hope be our superheroes being beacons of hope and things of that nature. That was really cool. I liked that. It was good. It's a good, hopeful ending. So even if all of this ends here, we had a movie that ended on a high note.
Yeah, absolutely. Bruce Wayne getting his mansion on for the Justice League location.
Yes.
That was pretty good.
That was cool. Yeah. So yeah, it was good. It was a good sort of bright turn that I think this universe needed. I mentioned that I liked Mara. I really like the runtime of this movie. It's their shortest one, I think, thus far of all of them.
I don't know.
Which was a good idea.
Yeah.
Because BVS was just filling 3 hours of just nonsense that they think we might like.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it was just like, hey, you nerds like this character, right? We're going to put them in there. And just, you like this.
Man.
I'm just like, what? No, stop. That was so bad. But having this be a shorter film, meaning you had to focus on what was important, get through a story, and get to an end. And this way, we don't have what happened with BVS and Suicide Squad, where they like frantically cut things out to make it a shorter movie, release the movie didn't make a whole lot of sense, and then we'd have to get an extended version to understand what was going on.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I need that for this movie. I feel like an extended version might be fun to see the other things about it. That would be fine.
Like extend the character stories a
right.
little bit more.
And maybe see because there are things in the trailer that we didn't get in this. For instance, there's a part in the trailer where, I don't know. Maybe this happened when I went to pee, but there's a part in the trailer where someone walks into what we assume the Batcave, and Alfred's there, and he turns to him, and he says, "He said you'd come."
Okay, no, yeah, that wasn't in the movie.
Right, which you assume would be Superman, which by this time we are aware that it's Superman. We were hoping it would be someone else, like a seventh member of the League, but it wasn't. So I assume that's when Superman decided to join the fight, and instead of going straight to the fight, went to the Batcave, I guess, to get directions from Alfred. Be like, hey, where do I need to go? And then Alfred would have pointed him to where they were. Although I don't think that's really necessary. I think he just showed up on the battlefield, which I'm perfectly fine with, because he almost certainly would have heard it.
Yeah.
From the other side of the world, which is,
or at least like felt the energy disturbance.
Right.
Or something.
Yeah. Definitely. But yeah, I like the runtime. I like that I wasn't there for 2.5 hours. It was just under 2 hours, which is great. Like I said, I think that challenges them to get to the point and make a good film. So, yeah. And it seems to be doing all right.
Yeah. The only place that is really not getting good reviews is Rotten Tomatoes. I think Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 39% right now.
Oh.
But like the user reviews is like at 89%.
Yes, Google users.
IMDb is
7.8,
at 7.7, I think.
Yeah.
7.8.
That's pretty high.
That's pretty high for a good, like, for a movie, like for a DC movie.
Pretty high for a DC movie, yeah. For a DCEU movie, yes, it's definitely high, and good, yeah. Glad to see that. Glad people are liking it.
Don't always trust professional critics, people.
Yeah.
Because we live in the age of the internet.
Yeah, I much prefer to see something before hearing a review or anything about it.
Yeah, because back then it's like we needed reviews because we didn't have the internet to see what people like, what actual like average people think, as opposed to professional critics who hate DC apparently, like really hard. They really hate DC for some reason.
I think it's just because like in the moment, so like superheroes are big in the scene right now, in the movie scene, and like critics, I think a lot of critics feel their job is to criticize, as it would be, and to point out all the bad, and like the best examples of the worst superhero stuff is in DC, and so like
it's true, they
are presenting the worst bits of superhero movies still, even now in 2017, when we should be much better at it than we have been.
WB,
they're presenting a lot of the things that we shouldn't have in superhero movies, like corny, dumb jokes, really poor storylines just to showcase really flashy fights, ridiculous, unbelievable fights. I'm just like, so yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
bad sound quality according to Eddy.
Sound direction, not quality.
Direction,
quality is okay. Sound direction was weird, but no, it was definitely okay.
I think Henry Cavill, or Henry Chavile, however you say his last name, had said or tweeted or mentioned that, you know, he felt like this movie was, before it came out, he felt like this movie was a step in the right direction, and that they'd learn from the mistakes. And I was really suspicious of that statement, skeptical of that statement when it first came out, and I was like, I don't know, because in all reality, you were probably standing in a big green room for the entire time you made this film.
Probably.
And I'm like, how can you tell? What did you see? So, like,
we really tried. We really tried, guys.
So, but
please don't hate us.
But having seen the movie and listening to that quote now, I can say, I think they have learned a few things.
Yeah.
This is, yes, one of those things being a happy Superman, like a more upbeat tone. I think that's certainly it. Again, I don't feel like we needed all the jokes they tried to force in, but yeah, DC is a bit of a darker and more mature universe anyway.
Yeah, it's definitely more gritty.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
So, things that excite me about this film. I've mentioned the happy ending and the hopeful ending. That excites me. It excites me that we can move into, you know, movies where things will be a bit more upbeat, a bit more actual DC, where I think often a overarching message in DC is that, you know, superheroes are these beacons that we should look to.
Absolutely. That
they're almost comparable to gods in some ways, and that they're these super powerful people, but that when any superpowered person can be a source of good when they have good morals, when they do what is right, and that they're meant to protect us. Yeah. And like a lot of overarching things in Marvel, so like Marvel kind of juxtaposes that, and this like, well, anyone could be heroes, or a lot of these heroes are just like us.
Yeah,
is sort of what Marvel
people.
is about. Like they're just people with normal flaws and things of that nature, and that's sort of where their strength lies in Marvel. And DC has their own strength in this sort of superhero. I keep saying godlike kind of, or beacon of hope type thing. And I enjoy that. I think they should play more to that, and I think they're set up well to do that now.
Yeah.
Because in BVS, they've done their best to create this sort of feeling that Superman is already a beacon of hope and a light that people look to and love, and that they're big, huge fans of him and stuff. But like, I don't feel like we've actually built that in the movies, because Man of Steel was mostly just about him deciding whether he should be this hero type thing, and then fighting a maniac from space and killing him and leveling a city in the process. So, and then BVS was about, he did a few good things, but it was mostly about him being framed for doing horrible things, and then the government trying to shut him down.
Gotcha.
So I'm like,
that's not.
I don't.
That inspires
and he doesn't,
me to do.
Yeah,
good.
like he doesn't smile in any of it. He's not happy in any of it. I'm just like, how is he this beacon?
I'm gonna go help a lady walk across the street.
Yeah, from what we've seen in these movies, I'm just like, nothing here tells me that he would have these tons of adoring fans. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like they just assumed that part of his character as a superhero, and they didn't actually give it to us. Yeah. Whereas I'm feeling they're kind of doing that now, or at least they're set up in a place to do that. You know, he's back from the dead. He's really appreciative of his life, of Lois Lane, of his now friends, and I feel like he is set up to be the Superman that we want him to be and need him to be, and that's really cool. And the other heroes in a similar fashion. You know, Aquaman is set up to go and you know, be the king of his people in his movie. Flash, I think, has good people to learn from. He has friends now, and he has heroes that he can learn from. Same for Cyborg. Yeah. He can stop being all mopey. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Also, Bruce Wayne. End of this movie. Batman. At the end of this movie, he gets... So, we learn that Clark Kent's mom has lost the farm. Yeah. And at the end of this movie, Bruce Wayne's like, don't worry, I got the farm back. Yeah. And Clark Kent's like, how'd you get the farm back? And he's like, oh, I bought the bank. Because the bank foreclosed on the house. Right. But I'm like, the bank foreclosed on it and then put it up for sale.
Right,
Why didn't you just buy the farm? You didn't have to buy the bank. What are you doing? Like, just, And then on top of that, why did it take resurrecting your friend for you to make this move? Why didn't you just help out your friend's poor widowed mom
who lost her son
and her husband and has just lost her house? Why not that be enough motivation for you to buy the house for her so she can stay there? Like, what are you? This man's so wrapped up in himself and his guilt. I'm just like. Anyways, it was that little bit. But the other thing that was really excited me was the ending credit sequence that you missed.
I did.
But I was losing my mind through the whole thing. I was like, because Deathstroke's in it. Yeah. And I'm like, yes! Yeah. Deathstroke is one of my favorite villains. He's super freaking cool. Do you know anything about him?
I know that he has an orange and black mask. That's
Crushed
about
it. So, fun fact. Have you seen Deadpool?
I have, yes.
Do you know anything about Deadpool?
I mean, I know he was like originally part of the X-Men, or like he came from the X-Men.
Right
on. But that's about it.
So, I know very little about Deadpool, Wade Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know that his creator based him off of Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke.
Okay.
I think he wanted to write Deathstroke comics, but he like couldn't. And so he was just like, well, I'll just make my own. So he literally made Wade Wilson off of Slade Wilson, Deathstroke.
Interesting.
So they're very comparable characters in as far as skill set. They use guns, they use swords, they're mercenaries, they both have a healing factor to a degree. Wade Wilson's is much more absurd than Slade's.
Okay.
And Slade only has it sometimes, depending on who's writing for him and what continuities. And anyway, Slade Wilson, Deathstroke, is a really intense mercenary who's very good at fighting, and he's just the killer for hire, essentially.
Gotcha.
He's a recurring main villain in Teen Titans, if you've ever watched any of that.
I did know about that.
They call him Slade in that one because they felt like Deathstroke was a bit too intense for the kiddos. so I don't think he's ever referred to as Deathstroke in that series. He's just called Slade. Who is Slade? I love that. But he's in this. So we see that Lex Luthor has been taken out of prison, and then we see Deathstroke on a boat get to a yacht, and he gets on the yacht in full garb, full black and orange ninja garb, and I'm like, this man looks so cool. And he walks over and he has a conversation with Lex Luthor, and even pulls off his mask, and you see his lost eye and things like that. Have you watched Arrow?
No.
Okay. You should watch the first 2 seasons of Arrow.
Should I?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll put that on my list.
The second season is by far the best they've made. David says season 5 was really good, and it may have been. I watched the first 3 seasons. I tried to watch 4, and I didn't get far. Maybe an episode or 2. It just gets really samey. But apparently season 5 was made up for that. It changed things and was very good. Okay. Anyways, Deathstroke is in that series, and he's very good.
Okay.
Anywho's, they have a conversation, and Lex Luthor's just like, we should form a team of our own, don't you think? And I'm like, yes, make the Legion of Doom right now, please, and call it that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that would be great. That's some cheesiness I would love. So that's just sort of what they were called back in the Disney. Lex Luthor headed up the Legion of Doom with Gorilla Grodd and various other people that I don't remember. Have you watched Justice Friends? You get your hand on some of that.
Oh yeah,
real old.
I have
real
to,
old cartoon.
I have to admit, I am a bit interested in going back and watching a couple of these movies and series. Since watching the Justice League and your recommendations,
of the animated films, I highly recommend Young Justice.
Okay,
it's on Netflix. I also very highly recommend Justice League Unlimited.
Okay.
I think it's still on Netflix. So there's Justice League and there's Justice League Unlimited. I think both of them have 2 seasons.
Okay.
Justice League is good, but I don't think it's as good as Unlimited.
Okay.
Unlimited is... So Justice League is like the original 7.
Right.
And then Justice League Unlimited is when they're like, okay, we're going to let all the heroes that are working in any capacity whatsoever join the Justice League, and we're going to basically be our own monitor of superhero activity. So it's basically like if S.H.I.E.L.D. and Marvel was basically just made up of superheroes.
Gotcha.
Is essentially what it is. And it's super fun because you get a lot of character interactions that you wouldn't get otherwise in that show. It's just and you learn about a bunch of different heroes, and there's a lot of cool things that go on. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Great series. What was I even talking about? The Legion of Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, because I was talking about the Justice Friends, which is
right.
a really old animated series, which is like a precursor to Justice League.
Okay.
It's when, like... I believe there are memes of this.
I have some recollection of like this name, like
If
and
you have
series.
any idea or have ever heard the term the Wonder Twins,
Yeah.
this is what they come
Okay.
from.
Gotcha.
Yes, that is.
I know who those
That is what it is. They were members of the Justice Friends.
I think there was some Space Ghost jokiness with it too,
Definitely, I'm sure.
like Wonder Twins and stuff. But I think that's the extent of my knowledge on that.
Yeah, no, this is the Wonder Twins. There's a lot of memes about them because one of them would always they can take the form of things when they connect their rings, and one of them would always take the form of something really useful, and the other one would always take the form of like a shoe.
Okay. Or a bucket of water.
Bucket of water, yes,
like
was their go-to. It was.
I remember that. Good times.
Form of a fighter jet. Form of a pancake.
Why?
A bottle of syrup. Yeah. So yeah. But the Legion of Doom was who they fought against.
Gotcha.
And I think there's even a small portion in either Arrow or maybe the Legends of Tomorrow, where a couple of the bad guys from a couple of different seasons form up together and they call themselves the Legion of Doom.
Okay.
Which is just stupid funny. Like, I love it. Any hoozles? Yeah, that's it. I feel like this movie was good, not great, even though it should have been great. But I'm satisfied with it as a step in the right direction, as long as things get better from here.
Yeah.
And I think they're set up to get better from here, and as long as they hopefully learn the right lessons from this and continue to learn the right lessons, I think we're in for a better, brighter DC experience.
Yeah.
Which is good, because I was so...
You're dreading it.
I was so dreading
Cautiously
this movie.
optimistic.
I was ready just to not watch any more DC films, because I just...
Didn't want to disappoint anyone.
No, I didn't want another BVS.
Yeah.
I really didn't. And
which I still haven't watched, so.
Right. And which is, like, I think about you not having seen this movie, and I just... It's impressive to me that you haven't, because so many people fell victim to this.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
I dodged a bullet, guys.
yeah, no, like $800 million it pulled in around the world, and I'm just like, so many people saw this movie. Like, so many human beings gave money to them for this movie that was so trash.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't watch anything after The Dark Knight, and I didn't watch any of the Superman movies, so.
That's just strange to me that you only saw the second Nolan Batman film. Why not watch the trilogy? Did you like The Dark Knight?
It was good. Yeah, I liked Heath Ledger.
Okay, well, maybe that's it. If you didn't absolutely love it.
I mean, it's like I said, like it steps back from my childhood. It's like those kinds of things were forced on me, and it was annoying to me, so I just kind of distanced myself. Mm-hmm. And honestly, like the first refresher towards superheroes was Iron Man.
Okay,
Iron Man was my first
Mm-hmm.
real movie, and that was like the first one of the first Disney or towards
so
the
that
Disney
was
thing.
That was the first Marvel Studios film. Oh, I don't know. I think they also count the Incredible Hulk, and I don't know if that one was first or not. But I think Iron Man, in my opinion, Iron Man was the first real Marvel Studios film. That was before they were owned by Disney. I think Disney bought them right before the Avengers.
Okay.
So I think the Avengers might have been their first one under the Disney thing, but most of the first phase of Marvel Studios was independent, was just Marvel Studios.
Gotcha. But yeah, that was my first like re-submerging into the superhero genre.
Gotcha.
I think that was like their first like really big successful movie too.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
like Robert Downey Jr. Love that man. But
yeah, he's great.
And then I watched all the others after.
Yeah, no, and as you would, because it was great, because it was promising good things, and they had their pitfalls too. You know, Iron Man 2 wasn't the best movie ever.
Yeah, and Iron Man 3 wasn't that great.
Yeah,
either,
I liked Iron Man 3.
I mean, it was okay. Like that was another meh for me, but I watched it. It was enjoyable.
But yeah, I just also to recommend, if I was going to recommend more things for you to watch, animated series that you can watch. There's a series called The Batman.
Okay.
That I think is still on Netflix. That one's great.
Okay.
Really, really good stuff.
Mentally.
Batman Beyond is also good.
Okay. Batman Beyond.
I don't think that's on Netflix anymore, but it is very good.
I think I saw like a couple of episodes of that. Actually,
I remember watching that when I was little and really liking it, and I watched it again. I started watching it again a couple of years ago on Netflix, and I was like, yeah, this still holds up. It's really good. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. But again, DC's really usually very good about their animated stuff. Their animated stuff
Warner Brothers animation is great. Like most of everything, like the old cartoons that they used to do, and like. So
it's just real funny that they just can't get their stuff together. Or haven't been able to get their stuff together super well in the realm of movies, but such is life. Yeah. Anyways.
Well, maybe a brighter future.
Yes.
Beacon of hope and all that.
I agree. I think this movie
Superman, save us, please.
Sets them up to do better in the future, and hopefully they will capitalize and do better.
With your CGI mouth.
I need to look. I don't even know what their next film is going to be. I think it might be.
Is it Aquaman? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Aquaman.
I think that's the one that's been under actual production lately.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see Mara and him and see what they do underwater.
Yeah, I'm super interested in that. Like Aquaman is like one of my favorite superheroes because he is the water guy. Like I like watery, abilities and things like that. And like my ex-coworker of the job I used to work at, and he's very into DC Comics, and he always talked about it. And like he showed me some of the Aquaman of the New 52, I think maybe, and Mara was great in that. Yeah. And like I didn't see very much of Aquaman, but like Mara was great, so I'm super interested in her.
Yeah, she's cool.
And just the whole water manipulation thing is awesome.
Aquaman's cool in the Justice League and in Justice League Unlimited. You really need to watch Young Justice. You just really do. So I'm excited. I hope Aquaman does well, because I hope that, again, I really, in DC, I really like a lot of the sidekicks. Like I love Robin. I love basically all the Robins, except for Damian Wayne, because he's kind of a brat. But whatever. And I love the Teen Titans. I really, really like, there's a character in Justice League called Calderon, who is Aqualad.
Okay.
And he is so freaking cool. He's one of my favorite characters now just because of that series.
Okay.
He is a boss.
Yeah.
And you'll probably like him a lot.
Okay.
Gosh, he's cool.
And like going back on like thinking back to the CGI, I think they actually did well with the like water manipulation that they did. Like that was great. I was like the interaction where when Aquaman and Mera were underneath and they like made an air bubble or something. Yep. And I was like, oh god, it's so cool.
Yeah, it's
like
really
when he
cool.
stopped the water, which is all he did in the movie. But
yes,
that was cool too.
I think Mera is a more competent water mage than he is, if I recall correctly. And Calderon does a lot of that, and it's super fun.
And if the Aquaman movie is anything like that, like I think that they are going to do pretty well, at least on that CGI front for the water stuff, like with the hair movements and the floatings and stuff in the water. I have high hopes for that.
Yes.
And it's one that I will see. Like I haven't seen very many DC movies.
It's one that you plan to see.
But I do plan to see it.
Yes, I have hopes. I'm trying to keep them in check so that I'll be pleasantly surprised. So I think part of that was for me with this was like my expectations were not very high for this. Yeah. So because it did anything decent at all, I was like, oh, how pleasant.
Very pleasant.
But yeah.
Save us, Jason Momoa. You Hawaiian son of a gun.
But yeah, I think overall, like you said, and we both said, I would recommend this to someone.
Yeah,
it was good. Not great, but it was good.
Yeah, if you're a fan of the comics, definitely watch it. Yes. If you're a fan of the movies, I mean, you're probably going to watch it anyway.
Yeah. is worth a watch. It's worth a watch for superhero movies as well, and it's another thing that I feel like BVS. I felt like was something to see. It was something that you should have witnessed. This I feel like is that, but also in a positive way. Like, watch them take a couple of good steps forward.
And it seemed like Justice League was like a direct sequel from Batman vs Superman.
Yeah, because a lot of it has been a lot of it is drawn off of the fact that Batman died.
Mm-hmm.
So Superman. Sorry, Superman died. My apologies. Suicide Squad was basically because of that.
Okay.
It exists because you haven't seen that.
No, I haven't. Mm-hmm.
Like, Homegirl, what's her bucket? I don't know her name. Yep, still not. The person who creates the Suicide Squad. She's a government official, and I don't remember her name at all. She's the one who pushes for it. Mm-hmm. She makes it basically in reaction to Superman. Mm-hmm. She's like, hey, what if someone like him pops up and he's bad?
Okay.
Why don't we should have a contingency plan. And mm-hmm. that's what the Suicide Squad essentially was. That was her purpose in forming it. Gosh, I'm going to remember her name when we stop recording.
Probably.
I know I am. It's ridiculous. She's a card. Like, she is a card in freaking the DC Deck Builder.
Original?
I don't know if she's in the original set or not.
I haven't played too much of the others.
She's also in freaking Batman Beyond. She shows up a lot. She's anyway. Any hoozles, like, a lot of these have been, like, Wonder Woman was the only one that wasn't because it was set in a different time. Mm-hmm. But, like, a lot of any of the modern day DCEU movies have been reactions to the death of Superman in BVS.
Okay.
But yeah. Yeah. But any hoozles, good, not great. Go see it. It is worth your money, especially if you paid to see BVS. You should redeem yourself spiritually by seeing this.
Absolutely.
Because it's better.
It is quite... Well, I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But from all the things that I've
trust me,
heard
it's better. You can have my opinion that it is indeed better than BVS.
Yeah.
Step in the right direction. Yeah. It's worth seeing. I think that'll about do it. Thanks, Eddy, again for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Look
I
forward
plan to do it again soon.
Yes, look forward to seeing more of Eddy. I'm certain that when we review The Punisher, it will be you and I.
I'll watch it. I'll be watching it. Because I love that man too.
Yeah, I was kind of excited for it, and then I realized today I had an opportunity to start it, and I was just like, not yet.
Wait, it's out?
Yeah, it came out today.
Oh crap!
It's on Netflix right now.
Okay, I have something to watch tonight.
Yeah, you can go watch all of it. But yeah, I was just like, because I'm so cautious towards them now after Luke Cage and Iron Fist, and I don't want to lose another 13 hours to something that's just gonna drag.
Such a busy schedule.
Yeah. It's just I don't lost to 13 hours is hard, but I mean, I feel like both Luke Cage and Iron Fist were things that I watched hoping that they would be better every time I watched another episode, and they just never got there.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, I was just looking back on all the time, and I was just like, what did I do?
On the bright side, they do have a lot of things to go off of from Daredevil, because he was in Daredevil. So
yes, and we see that Homegirl is in it. I consistently forget her name, the blonde from Daredevil. You've forgotten her name too, but that's okay. I always want to call her Felicity, because Felicity Smoke is the blonde girl from Arrow.
Okay.
But that's not who she is. But that's essentially who her character is.
Reporter girl?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know her name. I'm bad with names. As a youth, apparently.
I don't know. Anyway, but I will watch it.
Yeah. It's going to be super gritty.
It will be.
And deadly.
Yep, a lot of guns,
lots
of murder.
Lots of murder and blood, probably.
So yeah.
This is the Punisher.
Hopefully that'll be interesting.
Sponsored. Not sponsored.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, look out for that. We are Those Nerds You Know. You can find us at TNYK Pod on Twitter, also on Facebook and YouTube, Those Nerds You Know. Look us up. And you can get the pod on iTunes and Podbean. Please like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend, give us a nice review on iTunes. Do the things that you would do if you enjoyed us. If
not, just don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Just give it yourself. Don't worry about it. You don't have to tell
sorry
us.
If I disappointed you.
But yeah, tell us, add us on Twitter. Let us know how you felt about this movie, if you feel like our gripes were justified, if you agree with us, if you don't agree with us, let us know what you think. Let us know what you're excited to see in moving forward in DC. Let us know what you're excited to see in superhero movies in general. But anyway, that's all. My name is Ethan.
I'm Eddie.
And we are those nerds you know.
Bye.
Bye.